Today we're going to be crocheting this really simple hanging AirPods case, and this pattern is going to fit your regular sized AirPods, not the AirPods Pro. If you're interested in this exact pattern for the AirPods Pro, check the links in the description because I will have that tutorial pattern down there. So for this, you're going to need a pair of regular AirPods. You're also going to need a pair of scissors, a size F or 5 or 3 3/4 millimeter crochet hook, and I am using some leftover KC 100% cotton yarn, and this is a size 3 light yarn, and the color is Rainforest. And we're going to begin with a slip knot. So take your working yarn and drape it over your tail. Pinch that intersection, slide your fingers in your loop, pull your working yarn up through that little loop you made while holding onto your tail, and then you can slide your crochet hook in that loop and tighten your slip knot down on it. From here, we're going to chain 10. So to chain, you're just going to grab your working yarn and pull it through the loop that's on your crochet hook. Once you have your 10 chains, we're going to turn our work and work in this opposite direction. We're going to skip this first little chain as a turning chain, and then we're going to dive into the back loop only, and this is the loop furthest away from you when you're looking at your stitch of our second chain here. And we're just going to place a single crochet here. So yarn over and pull through your little loop, and then yarn over and drop the 2 loops that are on your crochet hook to form a single crochet. From here, we're going to place 1 single crochet in the back loop only of each of our chain stitches. So you should have a total of 9 single crochets when you make it to your tail. And once you have your 9 single crochets, it should look something like this. We're actually going to turn our work so that we can work in these front loops that we have left over from our chain row. So we're going to turn our work like this and come around our tail, and this is going to create a small little oval here. So to do that, we're going to work in the front loop only of the stitch that we just worked in. And you do have the option of working over your tail if you would like to by just lining it up with your loops and crocheting right over it like it is part of your stitch. Once you have that first single crochet in place, go ahead and continue to work your remaining single crochets in these front loops only. And you should have a total of 9 single crochets on both sides, or a total of 18 single crochets in the round. And make sure you count your stitches at the end of your row. There will be a sort of leftover loop depending on where you started over here. That's fine. As long as you have 18 stitches, don't worry about it. From here, we're going to begin a spiral pattern, which means we won't have to worry about starting and stopping our individual rows. So to do that, we're just going to dive right back into our first single crochet that we placed at the beginning of the last row. And we're working under both loops of our V for this row and each remaining row afterward. And we're just going to place 1 single crochet here. Now this single crochet, I do make a little tighter than my other stitches. Otherwise, I do advise you to keep these stitches nice and loose. This will create a more consistent pattern for you. Just allow your crochet hook head to determine the size of the stitch rather than you tightening down after you made the stitch. From here, we're going to place 1 single crochet in each stitch in our row going all the way around. And as you can see right here, there isn't a clear definition between the rows. So we're actually just going to repeat this in a spiral pattern for the next 8 rows until we have a total of 9 rows with our single crochet stitch. So when it comes to counting your rows, you want to find what's left over from your initial chain row, and you can kind of hold your finger there and then count up from these little ridges right here You just want to make sure you have a 9 on each side, and just make sure that you're roughly at the very top of your AirPods case. If you're not for some reason, you can adjust the number of rows right here to make up for that if you need to. So end your last row on a natural fold. So if you were to set this down flat, you want your crochet hook to be on one of the folds. And from here, we're going to place one single crochet in our next 3 stitches. Then we're going to chain 3. We're going to skip our next 3 stitches, and we're going to place one single crochet in our next 7 stitches. So now before we continue, make sure that the little hole that you created is centered on your little case and that your crochet hook is roughly near your little hole here. From here, we're going to chain 25, but we're going to make these chains tight. So just tighten down on your stitches. This will help prevent them from fraying and keep them nice and together. Once you have your 25 chains, then we're going to skip our next stitch from the stitch that we worked, and we're going to place one single crochet in our next 3 stitches. So now again, before we finish this off, just make sure that everything lines up together. Since we're looking at this visually, it's pretty easy for this to get kind of off. So if you notice that it's leaning to one side or the other, then you can go ahead and correct that now. From here, we're going to place one slip stitch in our next stitch. So slide your crochet hook in your stitch and yarn over and pull through all the loops on your crochet hook. Then we're going to tie off our yarn, so you can cut your yarn, and then we are just going to yarn over and pull through our loop all the way to tie it off. And I like to hide my tail on this side of my case because I turn it inside out when I'm finished. So you can go ahead and hide your tail however you would like. I recommend weaving it in and out of your little last row of stitches here for a few stitches and then down the outside of the case here. Once you've gotten your tail toward the bottom of your case, you can cut it. And then I like to fray my tail up like this so you're kind of separating the threads of it. And then I hide those little individual frays in opposite directions. And once you're done hiding your tail, then you're just going to turn this inside out. And now you want to slide your AirPods case into your little case here. It's okay if this is a little bit snug at first. It will stretch a bit, and you definitely don't want this to be really loose because then your AirPods case can fly out. Once you have your AirPods in the little case, then just take your large loop and slide it through this little hole that you made. If this video helped you, give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments below if you ended up making this and how it turned out for you. And don't forget to check the links in the description for my other AirPods case tutorial videos. I have them for the regular size AirPods and also for the AirPods Pro. Thank you so much for working with me, and I hope you have a wonderful, awesome day.